Hello, hello. I am out for a walk and wanted to share with you some tips. I got a message from someone in my community, a podcaster, who he's doing well, but he wants to know how can he improve as an interviewer. He says that he prepares for the interview, he reads up on his guest, and he gets the information about his guest, but he wants to know how to make the thing flow better, how to really have great conversations. So he has a conversationalist style, and I think that a lot of times those of us who are more conversational question if that's the best way to do it, right? There's a lot of people teaching how to interview, and it's based on like a very journalistic and standard way. And so if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you're looking to do, one of the things I recommend is when you know that's the style you want to adopt, find 3 to 5 podcasters who already are killing it, and you really admire them, you really appreciate their style, you appreciate their how they do their interviews, and start studying them. Ask yourself, like, what is it specifically that I really like about this style of interview? What is this person doing, saying? How are they interacting in a way that you would like to adopt? That's going to give you some key points to keep in mind when you prepare for your interviews. Another thing is, no matter what your style, it's important that before you book guests, you know exactly why you're booking them. So something I see a lot is people go, oh my gosh, this big name person, I want them on my show. And I go, well, why do you want them on your show? Well, because they're famous. Okay, what's the benefit to your audience? What's the benefit to you? Well, they have a lot of followers. Everybody's going to want to tune in because they're so special. That's one perspective. I don't actually personally take that perspective because I want to make sure that when I have a guest on my podcast, they're a fit for my podcast, that there's something specific about them that is in line with the offer of my show, with what I'm promising. So with my show, Fascinating Founders, I get pitched all the time, and for a number of famous people, but it's just not a fit because the promise of my show is that I am interviewing founders of mid-market companies who have taken an idea from zero to mid-market, and that's it, right? So I want to talk with them about their journey. I want to talk with them about their lessons learned, and that's why people tune into my show, right? If somebody's tuning into to Fascinating Founders, and I'm talking with somebody who's not a founder, or they're pitching their book, it's incongruent. So I think that's really important to keep in mind, staying true to what the show's about, what your promise is for the audience, and making sure that the guests you interview are in alignment with that. Know why you want them specifically on the show, and then you can definitely build rapport prior to them coming on the show. So there's a lot of things you can do to improve your communication, to give the guest an experience of you prior to connecting. And also, I think it's really important to be authentic, and that's seems like a buzzword these days, but what that means is be who you are. Don't try and impress anyone, right? Like if you show up in a regular day one way, and then you show up to an interview in a different way, it's hard to explain, but it's out of alignment. So personally, I really enjoy shows where the person who's doing the interviewing is the same way on the show that they are in real life. So one of my favorite podcasters is Jordan Harbinger. And he is, like, it doesn't matter if he's on and being recorded or he's off and having a beer. He is who he is. And, let's see if I go this way about the wind. Maybe I'll just walk back this way. But he is who he is, the same on air and off air. And I love that. And that's what I've always aspired to is I want the people who are listening to me to have the same experience of me when they connect with me. Now, my field is marketing and business. So I use my podcast as a way to connect with potential clients, potential students, people whose lives I can help improve. And so it's really important to have that consistency and that congruency. Excuse me, if you're interviewing for a different purpose. So for example, if you are, let's say, doing a podcast about celebrity gossip, then you're not doing it for the same reasons, which for me is lead generation, right? So you need to think about what's the purpose of your show, what are the things that this particular person can add to the show, and just start off with some questions about them. Everybody loves talking about themselves. So that is one thing for me, easy to kick off conversations with a question around, when did you first realize you wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? Things like this. Now, I will say with questions, I'm not a big fan of having standard questions that you ask everyone all the time. That's just me. Some people love that style. Some people love tuning into shows that they know are going to ask the same question of every guest. Everybody's different. So know your style that you want. If it's conversational, if it's more journalistic, know why the person is coming on the show, know what you want from them, your objectives, and stay consistent and congruent with who you are and what your show is about. I hope that was helpful. If you'd like some more quick tips for podcasting, podcast guesting, or overall building your authority brand, reach out, let me know.